Um, how do you personally stay inspired and continue to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI?
That's an easy question. It's just like following artists like you, and
Okay, cool.
we are inspired often and learning.
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel intoxicated with so many ideas all the time.
agreed. Hello, this is Brian Sykes with AI Explore and the new podcast, AI Creators Collective. And I'm excited to bring, as an introduced guest today, Margarita. And so, Margarita, such a pleasure to have you with us. I'm excited to kind of engage because I've enjoyed, I've got LinkedIn open on my left-hand side here. So I have enjoyed seeing the great variety of things that you bring. Particularly the bunnies. Those are always exciting and fun. But tell me a little bit about yourself as a way of introduction, who you are, what you do professionally, and then we'll start, talking about the AI side.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to be part of this fantastic group of artists and being able to collaborate on this book. A big thank for you to make all these things happen. So, and I'm truly excited to be here talking to you, like the professor. It's very cool. So, well, my name is Margarida Barreto, and I've been a graphic designer for more than 15 years. I always had a passion for art since I was a little girl. In the beginning, I thought I would be a huge fashion designer, but then I saw that it wasn't possible. And then I went to study design, graphic design, in the communication part. And I was able to work throughout the years in many agencies. And it's curious, but all over the years, the areas of my clients were in technology fields. So I've worked with HP, Dell, Mitsubishi, Apple. So I had to be always looking for what's the new thing, what are they doing, like the edge of technology. So I think technology always made part of my path in design. And of course, design is also, it makes part of technology. We have to be constantly evolving and learning and developing new things. And I think making the bridge to today, more or less, in 2013, I started to do some work for a company of augmented reality. So I think that was the thing that brought me the curiosity to go and see and look for more things and diverse things. It were like funny years because I was used to just doing some branding, advertising, paper things, and with that it was like a challenge. So now I have to develop skills to embrace new technologies, and it was crazy. And I saw, wow, I like this a lot. yeah, so I developed some in the UI UX part, of course. I helped develop some apps for in historic fields. Like you have the app, you go to a city, you point to a monument, and then it pop-ups the image and tell you the story.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Very neat.
And yeah, then I started doing some web design. I still do
Yeah.
sites and mail marketing, all of those stuffs. But
Okay.
that part of technology was always there.
Right. Now, are you commercially trained, or do you do artistic work leading into your graphic design, or were you more computer based and all the stuff that you created?
I do almost everything in computer. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm from that time where I learned everything by hand. So
yeah. It's same.
yeah.
My class was the first that were learning how to use computers, and we were kind of teaching the teachers as we're figuring this stuff out. So it's kind of fun to see this new emergence of AI and how it's impacting things. And the same concern with Adobe and Aldus and all those products when they were first hitting the market. I'm seeing some of the same kind of comments take place around AI. It's just going to take over the industries. It's going to make people lose jobs.
Yeah,
but
I'm
what
always
people
saying
did,
the same. Yeah.
yeah. So what people did is, you know, if you wanted to be a graphic designer, then you had to then learn the new tool sets that were available. And I tell people all the time, I really think AI is just another tool like Photoshop that's going to help you to accomplish your job better and faster.
Exactly.
So walk us through your creative process for using your text to art tools in AI, and then which tools are you primarily working with?
Yeah. Okay. So I basically use Midjourney since the beginning. I've tried Dall-E, also Stable Diffusion, just a little bit.
Right.
In Dall-E, I didn't like the approach it gave me to the things I wanted to do. And when I discovered Midjourney, it was just whoa. And it was in the first V2, I think, when I started. And well, my process in working with these tools is I always have most of the times I always have a preconceived idea.
Yeah.
So I know what I want in the end. I remember at first I was doing gigantic prompts because I was telling literally a story of everything I wanted. So now I don't do that anymore. I'm much more precise, saying what I want. And what I try to do is trying to find specific terms for lightning. You help a lot with your lessons.
That's awesome.
So I try. Yeah, it's true, because when I have some doubts, I go and check what are you saying about camera views, photo lightning, specific things that helps a lot in the final output.
Yes.
You can see really the changes. So I try to guide myself with these terms, specifications. Sometimes I feel like being a designer and knowing some terms about specific things, it helps a lot. But also, if you try to do something more linear without many specific things, you always are surprised too, because sometimes the outcomes are so crazy that you see, oh, I never would have been able to get this if I was telling to give me this. So
so does that mean you kind of go after, are you pursuing the creative to see what kind of crazy it might come up with? Or are you really, really focused around?
Sometimes I just have, it's like, I know that I want to have a turtle in a flying around.
Right.
I try to sometimes just to say the subject and the theme and give it to Midjourney and let's see what it gives to me. And sometimes I get more ideas from that because it shows me a crazy thing. Oh, okay, this can be a way. Now let's work on it.
Right. I think I find I have that initial concept in mind, and most of the time I'm creating something in order to teach. So there I have a basic concept. This is the concept, like today was cross-hatching. And so I'll have some base idea that I want to communicate. I'll express that. But every time I'm in the process of creating, I will find an output that's different than I was anticipating. And it makes me kind of go, okay, I want to put a pin in that. I want to come back and explore that in a different thing altogether. I think that's the neat thing with Midjourney is it's always opening up new possibilities that I never considered before. Well, in that vein, Dan, how do you see kind of AI art evolving in the future? And then what role do you think you're going to play in that evolution?
Well, that's a huge question. I think I don't have a straight answer to that. I know that every day is a challenge because every day something new is coming up. I cannot understand where we are going. I think the next step I think is more neural, less gadgety with gadgets or platforms. Like you are the interface. But I don't know. I think this is for now, for the next years, maybe just a dream, but I think in the future it will be something like that. For now, I see tech evolving at a speed of light, and it's a game changer. It will continue to be a game changer. I think the positive things here is when it takes over repeated and dangerous tasks from humans. Will free us to be more involved with our minds, with our creativity and empathy through all. So for me, at the moment, I would love to try more AI tools that could easily be affordable, like turning 2D images into 3D models. I have read about it, something like a Midjourney for 3D, a blender. So let's see what it brings. Let's see how it looks, because that's a thing I would love to explore. I'm not a 3D artist.
Neither am I.
But I have a lot of curiosity about it. So I see myself using these technologies, continuing to use these technologies, and in my case, to most of the times to try to spread the word about things that I want people to know, like the awareness teams that I sometimes explore. So I see this like today is my second job doing things in AI. But I hope that in the future it will be maybe my full-time job. I would love that to be possible.
Well, it's such an opportunity to express really unhampered, unhindered creativity. What's possible with AI. It's very engaging and exciting to be a part of. So it's fascinating to me to watch this whole process. And I think you're right. I think the future of AI is definitely moving into the 3D realm more and more. I think video integration is going to be greater. The newest application just skipped my mind, where you can have a video and then you can import an image as a reference, and it'll basically recreate that video using that image base for styling. So, the technology is just getting so quick. And I think you're right. There's a proliferation of new stuff every single day. And it's overwhelmed as far as
Totally.
I don't have time to go try all these things and to see what's all out there. And so I think this is the challenge also, is there's a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of Midjourney and Dall-E and Stable Diffusion as the front runners in this space to kind of keep a pulse on what's going on in technology around AI. And,
Yeah.
it's really, again, it goes back to, it's really kind of overwhelming because, again, we just cannot do it all. There's no way possible. I'm still trying to figure out all the nuances.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was going to say that before coming to speak to you, with you, I was reading some articles about 5 or 6 new apps that came out, and I was just, I don't have time to experiment all this, and I want to try because they were doing crazy stuff, awesome stuff, but it's very difficult to keep up with everything. You have to see what's good, what's not. It's and you don't have time.
No, you do not. You do not. Okay, so that's a good one, though. The kind of transition for our next question is, what challenges have you faced recently when working with the AI tools? And then what have you done to overcome those challenges?
Well, one of them is time, because it's so many things that it's hard to keep up. But I think the first challenge I've came across was in the beginning, because English is not my native language. So sometimes trying to, in my prompt, remember or knowing to say the correct words that it expresses the thing that I want. Sometimes it was harsh to do it.
Right.
But then came Chat GPT, and obviously you have translators to do that, but not always the word is that, because it's like you're in your native language, you say things that you don't know exactly how to translate to English, and the other way around. So with ChatGPT, I could turn that over, because I can put an idea and see the outcome that he gives to me, and then I can say the same thing but that way. And this goes to the other challenge that I came across, especially on Midjourney, about forbidden words.
Right. Yeah, I've run across the same.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, some of the words are standard words. It could be a person's name. It could be a town in a certain city. But referencing and that word showing up as a forbidden word blocks the whole thing. And then you got to figure out what's the workaround to use that term for this other thing. And so that's been a very interesting challenge. The same.
Yeah.
Like in North Carolina, there's a place called Kill Devil Hills. Kill is one of the words that's forbidden, but that's actually the place I was trying to reference. Exactly. That's a constant. Yeah.
That's difficult. I noticed that when I was doing the work about Iran, about the death of Masa Amini, and I wanted to express, in the prompt I said something about all the girls are cutting their hairs. Right. Because I wanted to express that, and I wasn't able, because cut is a word that you cannot use. I tried scissor. I think scissor wasn't okay. But at the time, ChatGPT wasn't around, or I didn't knew about it, because if I knew it, I would talk to him. Oh, give me a word similar. And yeah.
I ran into that when I did this series on paper cutting. I mean, trying to figure out a way to say paper cutting without using the word cut. But I found that I could actually combine the word into one. So paper cutting was understood. Maybe you could do the same thing with haircut. in the States here, we refer to haircut. So that would work in haircutting.
Okay.
So that's
Cool.
concatenating when you combine two words. I think that's how we might be able to do some of the words. That's what I found has worked so far. It's just basically combining it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've actually read, I don't know, because I don't have knowledge of a second language. But I've seen recently where the Midjourney is getting more proficient and working with multiple languages now. So you may have to try exploring in your native language and see how well it can handle prompting. So that would be actually kind of cool. Let me know.
I'm going to try it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you know.
That'd be awesome. Well, what is a favorite text art creation that you've done, and then what inspired you to create it?
Okay. Let's see. I think my favorite works were those on awareness.
Yeah.
And my bunnies. I think I was very happy when I did the set of image about the international garbage dump that the Western world creates in Ghana. Yeah. This work had a special taste because a local artist from Ghana came to me, contacted me to help him promote his intervention music that he makes there, where he talks about dramatic events, about the environmental problems they have in his country. So he gave me his YouTube channel with his musics. I put it also in on the post I published on LinkedIn. And I saw the good thing here was that a lot of people didn't knew about the problem. And because I was telling them about, people saw it and people learned it. And maybe in some way I may have helped a little bit.
Sure. Those were very compelling images. They were really well done.
Yeah, thank you. The other works I liked a lot was one about nature. It was in summer, about my country. There was huge fires here. And then at the same time in Pakistan, you had horrible floods. So it was like an homage to all the animals and the nature that was suffering in my country, and to the people that were suffering in Pakistan. And maybe the last one I've done about awareness, about albinism. That was because I saw a documentary about it, and I thought I have to go and see more of this. And I think people need to know about this stuff. So I think AI in this case interests me a lot because of this. Because I always add interest about these kind of things, revolted about situations of injustice, and now I feel I have a voice. I have the power at my disposal, so I can alert, I can try to awaken the minds of others and make it known. And then I love the other works I do about bunnies. I have two.
Of course.
And that's just for fun. And there I can explore different things. And it's like breaking the tension about the other more harsh things that I talk about. Yeah.
I like that. I think it's interesting that you've used your platform as an empowering element to more effectively compel or story tell, things that are happening. I think that's really brilliant. Again, I think to me, this is the thing I keep seeing from everybody that I'm engaging with the podcast is it's a way to tell a story more effectively. It becomes a tool as a resource for getting the information out. And I think that's what's really neat is we're harnessing technology to more effectively tell stories, which is, that goes back to the root level of human communication is we are so drawn to story, and AI allows us to visually tell it in a very compelling way.
Completely. Yeah.
how do you see text to art technology being used in industries outside of the traditional art world? I think you've kind of alluded to it in awareness things like you're already doing, but have you seen it being utilized other places? And do you see how it could be used in places that maybe haven't even tried it yet?
Well, I see it can be used in several range of industries,
Yeah.
especially in ours, like visual communication and marketing,
Right.
advertising, entertainment, fashion, everything that has to do with media, social media.
Right.
I saw, yeah, I saw a couple of hours ago in the news that a university here in Portugal today gave the first lesson in the metaverse.
Neat.
So they were excited and thrilled, teaching the students in the metaverse.
Right.
And I think it's another way of using this kind of technology.
Yeah.
I think for education, it can be very useful and very powerful, because
Right.
if the teachers start to use even text to image just tools,
Right.
maybe they can dynamize the classes, make more impactful the meaning of things.
Right.
It's different when you are seeing images than just listening.
Agree.
And maybe using more videos, this kind of experience of AR. I think people just have, it's just gaining.
Right.
It's like the next evolution. So I think, yeah, it's easily you can see this implemented in many kinds of industries.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And that's one of the things I try to teach is introducing AI into the creative process that's why I've done the thing on DeWalt drills and Caterpillar equipment. Let's look at how this thing can be applied in every industry to get people kind of acknowledging and recognizing the value that it can bring to their market. Because I think, the technology is just moving, and what's possible is only going to grow as people leverage the tools and begin implementing it into the system. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you talk about any innovative or unique uses of text art that you've explored?
Well, I don't know if they are new or unique, but it's like what we were talking some minutes ago. Every day, new things come out.
Right.
I tried on a daily basis to stay up to date with everything, but it's impossible.
Yeah, it is.
I think the problem is the lack of time, as we were speaking.
Right.
There are several options. One of the things I always try to use, or I try to use more and more, is animations, tools to animate things. I think it's the next step. Animations, video games. So I've been finding throughout this month several applications that, without I have to learn specific editing tools, and that I can in a short time animate videos. I came across some. I think most of you know. Layapix is one of them. I used it in my lesson. Then you have Runway, Motion Leap, mostly iPhones or mobile phone apps that you can in a couple of minutes create awesome animations. Obviously, I'm talking about social media, mostly social media content. But you can use it to create a little bit more long videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they are, as I was saying, they are not unique or new, but I try to catch up with everything that is coming and try to learn more. And yeah, but
Right.
it's hard.
I think the funny thing with me is we can forget that there's not that many people still using AI yet. I mean, it's growing, but it's really still new. We're around it and we're inundated with it so much, it can almost feel like, well, that seems old. But there's still people that I run across on a regular basis that aren't even familiar with AI. They've never heard of Midjourney. Their Chat GPT is brand new. I just taught a class at the local college a couple weeks ago, and it was all around AI technology. And none of the people in the class were familiar with Chat GPT or Midjourney or Dall-E. So as I'd walk through,
Okay.
I would introduce, the concept. I was like, okay, anybody that's heard of this, raise your hand. And everybody just kind of looks around like, never heard of this thing. But what's neat is when you get the opportunity to show somebody for the very first time what's possible with Chat GPT, what Midjourney can create with just a simple prompt, then it starts just kind of, it's like you've turned on a switch and they get it and they're excited and they're a little bit overwhelmed. But it's really fascinating because I forget, because I'm so inundated with it, this is really brand new to so many people.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So anything you do is going to be brand new and cutting edge, even if it's only a month old. But that's the pace of technology. It's moving so fast that once it sits for just a little bit of time and it's been around, it feels like it's been here forever. It's you feel almost dated.
I feel that because I'm the old school because I started using Midjourney in August last year.
Same, literally. That's the crazy thing is when I started with Dall-E and Stable Diffusion, and I used the Google Colab Disco Diffusion. That was actually where I first started. And I decided after spending a month playing with this stuff, I'd actually, like July is where I first kind of picked up some things. And then I'm going through August and I'm realizing, okay, this is new stuff. I'm not finding people out there who's explaining how to use this stuff. So I'm literally going to learn it and then turn around and teach people what I just figured out. So September 1st was my first post explaining, what I'm doing in AI. And when I go back and read that, it's hilarious because I had no clue. I'm just figuring this stuff out as I go. But the deep dive of several hours a day learning this stuff, I'm actually now I'm understanding and I'm playing catch up with the things I've figured out. So this is really neat to watch. And I encourage people, with the books, I tell them, don't just read the book and copy paste the comments. I want you to read it, apply it, and then turn around and explain it to somebody else. Yeah. Because as you teach, you make it more clear in your own head because the process of putting it into words helps us to understand it better. So, it's kind of almost a selfish endeavor. As I teach, I'm learning it better myself. So that's kind of the effort.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Let's see.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Just one thing about this that we were talking about. You remember you posted about VolumeX?
Yeah.
The plugin. I bought it and I have to try it. I have to gain time to try it.
It is
I'm super excited. Maybe next week.
Yeah, it does some interesting things and it does it really well. And it's funny because I've only used it one time since I did that post. So again, it's finding time to make it happen. It's the challenge. Yeah. But yeah, it's a really cool tool. But again, there's new stuff like that all the time. Neats was just sharing with me, he had a thing this morning and he was telling me about it last night, where you can bring an image into Stable Diffusion and it can do a depth map and it will then create a frame.
It's control something. I read about it.
So
the past week about that. Yeah.
But again, it's like, where do you find time to dive into all these things? And so this is what's fun with the creative community. is I'm learning from everybody else. As people explore, turn around and say, this is what I figured out, then, that's another thing that I can see based off their evaluation, whether to spend some time and energy in figuring out for myself too. I think that's the beauty of this collaborative community as a whole, is it's like I can't multiply myself, but I've got a whole bunch of other people out there that are kind of doing the same exploration, and I can learn from them. So in a way, I kind of am getting a chance to multiply my effort by learning from everybody else.
Yeah, that's a very cool point of view.
Yeah, because we can't do it all. Yeah, it works. Well, how do you balance the technical aspects of using the AIart with the creative aspects of producing your artwork?
Well, as a graphic designer, a background in design, using these tools, it makes a balance between technical know-how and creative thinking. So in the technical side, it is important to understand the capabilities and limitations of the tools being used. Like,
agreed.
To where can I go, or if it's possible to go, and the limitations, of course.
Right.
And also the specific parameters that can be adjusted to achieve different effects and results.
Right.
And it's also important to see this, like you were saying, it's just another tool for creative expression.
Right. Yeah.
Where in this case, I use my artistic skills to guide the process and make creative decisions, but everyone, even those who aren't designers, can do the same.
Agreed.
So just a few weeks ago, I had a request. To give an example, I had a request from a client to do some magazine advertising, to a big company, but the timeline was very short. It's like, it's for yesterday. So what I did was present some sets of images that I generated quickly on Midjourney, to see if there was the way to go or not. Just like a mood board, the look and feel. In this case, it speeds up the process.
Certainly.
But I also had the turnaround, that it could slow you down, because you have to know when to stop before you enter in the rabbit hole. Yes. And sometimes it's pretty hard. You can lose hours in this rabbit hole. So I think you have to balance things, but definitely it can help. In terms of time, it's brutal. Yeah.
Now, are you using the finished images as the result, or are you using the images you're creating as kind of launching points for further creation?
Yeah, on this case, for these advertising pages, it was just the starting point.
Okay.
Is this the way where we are going?
Right.
I have other clients where I use the raw image, and others that I have to work on them. For me, in the beginning, I was cleaning the images and changing the things, but what I'm doing now is publishing right as they come. Sometimes I just give a lighting up or more light, or less, but because I'm trying to achieve something that I don't know if it will be possible, but I'm trying to achieve through Midjourney the best quality or the best output I can take. And sometimes, yes, if I need to do something crazy, I have done a branding for a festival that was all done in Midjourney.
Right.
It's obviously, you look at that, it's not a normal logo. It's something more theatrical. But I had to spend hours, some days, working on an image, trying to get it all done and correct. But the starting point, it was Midjourney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the challenge that I found with clients around AI is they see some of the images and they're like, okay, that's really cool. I basically would like to throw out my photographer. I can hire you for a fraction of the cost of getting the photographer dude to come in here and do this. And they're thinking that you can just do a basic quick prompt in Midjourney. I want a blonde haired wearing a red dress, in New York City. Plop, there it goes. But you end up having to do so many iterations to try to find the best version of that. And it's still not perfect. And this is the thing is, we're not replacing creatives in that space. What we're doing is we're finding new ways to kind of fast track the creative process. And if you're okay with an imperfect image, then you're going to you'll be okay with what you create in Midjourney. I think more of an artistic style is more in line with the result that you're going to get. I don't know if that makes sense, but Midjourney is still not producing a photocopy of what's possible with the camera. It's still got elements like the cross-hatching that I did today. The images looked fine, but they did not look like somebody who took a rapidograph pen and drew with cross-hatching. It looked like something somebody created with a computer. So the artwork's nice, but you're not getting a replacement. I guess that's the point.
Yes.
Let's see.
I agree.
Have you had opportunity to do collaborative work in AI with others? And then my computer here. My computer's having a conversation with me here. Cancel that. Have you had opportunity to do collaborative work in AI with anybody? And if so, what was the experience like? And kind of, was there any takeaways that, how you might have approached that?
Yeah, I have had some collabs in our community on LinkedIn. One was with Igor Ribeiro.
Okay.
I think it was the first collab I've done. And curious, it was about fashion. Going back to my childhood.
Right.
And it was the first time I did anything about fashion with AI. Because I was seeing in the beginning, I saw plenty of people doing fashion.
Yeah.
And I saw, okay, I love this, but I don't want to do the same that everyone else is doing. So I didn't try it. And then he came to talk to me and said, "Oh, I'd love that you could collab with me." And so we did. And I think it was the first and only time I did some fashion.
Yeah.
But it was very nice because I did something that I wasn't used to do.
Right.
And I did another collab with Fabian. Because I think we have the same taste for horror, those kind of genre movies. But I don't know how we ended up doing a series of images about phobias.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was my computer talking to me now? My city came up here. Okay, so I was talking about the set of images I've made with Fabian. Yeah, about the phobias. Yeah. But there was a cool example of collaboration because each one of us choose some phobias to develop, and I choose one about insects. And I have a phobia with cockroaches. So it was like a shock therapy. It was cool. I still have a phobia with cockroaches, but okay.
It felt safe on the computer.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're not real.
The ethical considerations around AI are constantly showing up. For your side of things, can you discuss any ethical considerations or potential negative impacts of AI, and then how you approach addressing these issues in conversations or with work?
Yes. Ethicals and copyright issues have been a concern for me about all of this use since the beginning. I in my case, I hardly ever use artist references, unless it's something very specific, and I always mentioned the author. But I think in all these months, I've only used artist names like Giger, Escher, and I think Caravaggio. But just to test things, I love the art of these painters. Let me check and see just the outcome. So I avoid using references as much as possible, because at this stage I'm not there yet, because I'm always wanting to experiment, lose ideas and styles. But I'm trying to do is find my way, my path with my look and feel. The same as I do when I draw something and when I do design. But I had some surprises regarding people who said to me about some images that they can be seen as real images and not AI, and that they can deceive the viewer. In my case, I think my results are not so real that someone can be deceived. I think, and at this stage, I don't think also that we are having Midjourney outputs that are equivalent to a deep fake, because you always look to them and you see that something isn't right. So, but I think in the end, this is something that has to be on the table. The questions about copyrights and maybe expressing that the art was made in Midjourney or through AI. The problem here is I see the increase of fake news, certain deep fakes. It's a problem. I don't know how to solve it, but I think we should talk about it more. There's an interesting technologies, if you can say. It was made by Benjamin DeHunt and another one. I don't remember his name. AI tech. You can use that. You can use that and put it in your art and say the date, the name, the description, the URL on where the other works are, and you can use it every time you produce and you show some AI work. I have to remember more to use it because I'm always forgetting. I know it exists. I've tried, but then I publish and forgot to use the AI tag. But it's a tool that can help to minimize these ethical questions, because it helps if you are transparent in the beginning and saying, okay, this is an AI generative image or music or you name it, and I'm being transparent with it. I'm not trying to deceive no one or copying from any kind of artist.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I had a good friend that was in commercial photography 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And he was telling me, at that time, your lights, you weren't using LED lights. You were using standard, light bulbs for camera photography. And when you've got big, bright bulbs and you're taking a picture of ice cream, of course, that's going to be a puddle of milk in a matter of minutes. And so what they would do is they would use scoops of mashed potatoes. It looked just like ice cream, and it would handle the lights. But, this is the nature of, as time and whatever progressed, you're able to use a different type of technology for your lighting, and you could get your images just right. So I think, it's interesting, like the element of faking it has been a part of the industry for a long time. Photoshop has been a part of almost every single image that's ever been published in a magazine. So there's so much that's been modified in things that are put out, that it's interesting that the outcry is over something that the whole concept is based around a created thing, when so much of everything we see is literally created by somebody, or somebody's hands have been involved in the process.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true, because it looks like this is the first time in history
right,
that that this kind of, obviously this technology, yes, but it's not the first time that we are creating things inspired by others, or
right.
digitally creating something. So
Yeah. How do you personally stay inspired and continue to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI?
that's an easy question. Is just like following artists like you,
Okay,
and we
cool.
are we are inspired often and learning.
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel intoxicated with so many ideas all the time.
agreed.
It's everything is so overwhelming that it's difficult to stay focused, and sometimes thinking that it can be something better, even
Right.
it's like it's impossible. So
Yeah.
another another thing that I love watching is documentaries,
Yes.
and whenever I have time I watch one, and
Me
that
too.
is a font that is how I say it's a base of ideas.
Agreed.
Books are great to have ideas,
Yeah.
and also day-to-day life. I think besides that, in AICC community, every day you have a new team to explore,
Yeah.
and that's for me is awesome, because sometimes I'm just busy with work,
Right.
and I don't have time to think in something, and then I go there and see, oh, today is this team. That's a cool thing. I never would remember
Right.
to do something like that, and then you try prompting about it, and then it's like a spiral.
Right.
You end up with new ideas and getting other results, and I think this all of this inspire me, and of course always be aware of the new things and advances.
Oh, certainly.
We live in a fantastic time in terms of technological evolution,
Agreed.
and which, in my opinion, is the beginning of a new way of everything, of interaction, living, consuming, working, and we are watching it and we are participating in it. So
Agreed. Yeah,
that's awesome.
that's fantastic. And I like that. Again, I like that you keep coming back to the community, because I think this is where it's such a unique space. Prior to what we're doing in AI, I talked about the subject of branding and marketing, and I do those kind of posts, and I've been doing that for several years. But I never got the traction and engagement, or the even conversation started in that space like I see on a daily basis in AI. To me, it's really fascinating that this has really created a great community of people around a very compelling subject. There's so many things to talk
Really.
about. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
We're almost done with our conversation here. So my last question is, in the book that you're getting to be a part of, I'm so excited about, the AI Explore
Me too.
collaborations. Your lesson title, I love this, is called Shake That Bunny. So
Yeah.
without reteaching the lesson, what do you think is the biggest takeaway that you hope that the readers will get in regards to your lesson?
Above all, I hope the people will have fun learning. how to shape
Good.
that bunny. And that they will quickly get a group of images that are part of a same collection, maybe,
Yeah.
or maybe just one or two, that they will learn how to create in a simple and fast way a small animation.
Right.
And they also will be able, if they want, to sell them or just put them on NFT markets.
Yeah.
I think with the lesson I hope they can have fun, experience three different things,
Right.
and maybe in the end they can monetize their creation.
Always good.
So yeah, and I think this allows them to see that however you do an image in a text to image generator, you don't need to stop there. You can
Right.
go and test other things forward, like the videos, the animations, the monetizing,
Right.
and many more things that I don't recall now, but obviously they exist. So I think the final input is like, yeah, there are more things that can be done
Yeah.
after you have the image. So
I
I
like
think
that.
that's it.
I think that's really powerful, because instead of thinking of the AI as the end result, I really think, especially the name is perfect. It's Midjourney. It's literally the middle of where you're actually going with things. And I think that's brilliant. And I love that actually multiple people in this first book are all touching on implementing other technology into the creation of something. So Midjourney is just a piece or a cog in the wheel of an entire creative process.
Yeah.
And I love that that's where you took it a totally different direction, which I absolutely love. So I'm excited for people to get this in their hands and be able to explore. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah. Well, I've had a fantastic time. And let me try that with words. I've had a great time conversing with you, Margarita. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit better. I'm excited about people getting to read your lesson and be able to grow from that. But also, I would love for people to be following you on LinkedIn and seeing that you're posting there. What are some other platforms that you're currently posting on where people can kind of get their eyeballs on your creative?
I will give you, it's in my Instagram basically, because I'm
Yeah.
doing there some different posts about the same things, but with different point of view sometimes. And
Okay.
yeah, they can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure that those show up in our comments on the page there, so people can click and link.
Okay.
Again, we're wrapping up. Thanks again for being part of the podcast with us. Thanks for being willing to be in the book. I'm excited for this first one to come out. So I'm excited because life's just moving forward, and it's fun to have a great group of collaborators to explore AI with. So thanks so much, Margarita.
Thank you.
Brian, what is up? Man, I don't know you from Adam, but I want to thank you for all of the important information that you share on LinkedIn. It's helped me up my game in terms of AI. Also, you help me connect with connectors in AI. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just a guy who's trying to be resourceful with his 24 hours and to make the most of my legacy. And not for nothing, as a graphic artist, Photoshop artist with pencil, all of that stuff I've done in my life, AI is profoundly an upgrade in my life and most likely the lives around me, because I've actually seen lives increased by things I've done, money that people have received because of things I've done with AI. So this is really big. So what you're doing is not just for me. I'm glad to be a part of the tribe. I'm still learning. I'm 58, trying to get past the tech curve and understand all things tech. At least in my final years, in my second half of my life, so to speak, I can really maximize and right, like perpetuate greater life by the use of AI. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the prompts you share, everything. I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful you give me this platform to even share my 2 cents. God bless.
Um, Now I'll say that my name is Margarida Barreto from Electric 28, and you have just enjoyed another episode of AI Explorers, the AI Creators Collective. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Let's try this again. I'm just going to keep recording because I'm going to mess up anyway. Let's try this again. Hey everybody, this is Brian Sykes with AI Explore, and I'm so thankful you guys joined us for the AI Creators Collective and that you stayed all the way to the end. Thank you. I wanted to give you an update. So we're talking about this book as of this recording with Margarita, where book one had not even been released. So I wanted to update you. Not only has book one been released, but book two as well. And these are the AI Explore collaborations. Book one included Jonathan Iserman, Matt Garbett, John Gospel Ebier, Ben Courier, Neets Susik, Dennis Asienzo, Amir Tatwani, Travis Hinkle, Margarita Barreto, and myself. Book two that's been released of the AI collaboration series includes Carlos Alida, John Porter, Roberta Avila, Sherry Hurwitz, Big Al Gruswitz, Alexandra Brillenberg, Carlos Garavita, PJ Way, Pradesh Sir, and again myself. I also want to introduce you to two other books that preceded these two. The first is AI Explore, and this is Prompt Fundamentals. This is the very first book I released the end of September last year. I updated it at the end of October, right around the beginning of November, and all the prompts in here work with version 5. So this is an active, accurate book. It's 10 lessons. It'll get you a good foundation in prompting with Midjourney and other AI platforms. The other book is AI Explore, Tips, Tricks, and Rules to Break. And this basically follows on the heels of Prompt Fundamentals, and it walks you through some really good practical lessons and moving you through how to think in relation to talking with the computer and AI and getting the results that you're after. Anyway, 4 awesome books to help you in your AI exploration. Prompt Fundamentals, Tips, Tricks, and Rules to Break, and then the 2 AI Explore collaborations with 20 lessons combined in those two collaboration books. Anyway, the books are a great resource for you guys if you're interested in learning how to use these tools and grow and explore in the AI space. So thanks again for paying attention. Hopefully this was a huge asset to you guys, and look forward to you next time.